I like to set up a default scene, which means anytime I start a GoGuardian session, it's automatically going to apply the scene that I have chosen as my default. So while you have the class open, click on settings at the bottom and you'll have your name. Make sure you choose a subject because you'll be required to do that in order to choose a default scene. Then I just click on the drop down arrow and I see a list of all my scenes. I can also create one right from here. And I'm going to choose that I want the daily scene to automatically start every single time I start any GoGuardian session. Make sure you choose Update Classroom as well. I, of course, suggest scheduling anytime you can. I just think it's a good idea to set the schedule. If your class is the same time every period, set your schedule so you don't even have to think about your session starting. It automatically does. Otherwise, you are on sessions, and you'll notice over here if you manually start one, the daily scene is already selected as my default. So this isn't a real class, so I'm going to go ahead and start this session right now. Over here on the right-hand side is where I can see the scene that is being applied right now. I can click on this drop-down arrow, and I can change my scene anytime during class. For example, you can see all my students right now are being blocked because I see this unblock for class. Now, if they're all on the same website, it might mean, okay, I definitely need to unblock that. But it could just be that I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe my kids are all out researching and it's too much. So I can just come and quickly change to none if I'm like, okay, I can't deal with that right now. But maybe I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. So you can see actually 3 different websites here are being blocked for these students. So if I look at this and I go, oh, I'm doing Scratch today with my students, I forgot to add that to my scene, I can click on Unblock for Class. And I get the option to unblock the whole site, so anything on Scratch, or unblock just this specific page. So I'm going to choose unblock the site because obviously I either set it up wrong or I forgot to add that in my scene. And notice this will be added to your scene. So keep in mind if you were like, ooh, I just want to add this for today, it's okay, you can still add it to your scene, but make sure you go back to your scene and remove it. Because otherwise now you have just allowed this forever in your scene. So I'm going to click on Update Scene. So now if I look at this student here, it shows me they're actually being blocked from several websites down here. So they have a total of 5 open, but 3 are blocked. So I'm going to left click on this student and dive a little deeper into what they're doing. So YouTube, no, they shouldn't even be on it right now. I'm definitely not unblocking that. And I'm going to in fact even close it on them right now. So then I can go down and I'm like, okay, I'm not even sure what that is that the student's on because it just says sites.google.com. So let me just close it because they shouldn't really be on whatever that might be. And so you can just continue down doing that with your scenes. So again, if it's too much to manage right at that time, just come up and click on the None. There are times where you will see this banner that says you have students who are in another teacher's scene. Would you like to pull them all in by refreshing your scene? And you want to click on refresh your scene to try to do that. Keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily mean that this teacher is running another scene because you can click on the little yellow exclamation point and it'll tell you which teacher scene they're stuck in. Sometimes teachers end their scenes and it hasn't really like broken their connection to that. Students can restart their computer and then that breaks the scene that they're connected to. So if you refresh and they're still stuck, send that student a little chat message and ask them to restart. Otherwise, you can click refresh screen. Keep in mind if you are sending out a scene where you're sending automatic tabs to open, it's going to reopen all those tabs for your students again. So you can see now this did release them from their other class. Keep in mind again though, if it still doesn't, ask the student to restart their computer, or like here, that one keeps popping back up because that teacher actually is running another scene. So this kid's kind of competing between both of our classes. So that's when you might want to click on that little yellow exclamation point and reach out to the teacher who is running that session.